A lot of the audience will come into the show knowing the Go-Go's. Because they were major, in the early '80s, and then they've continued to do really, really wonderful work. So the score will be played live, by a sort of rock slash Baroque Elizabethan band on stage. Is going to be really fun. And I think what people will discover, if you know the Go-Go's, you're going to hear every hit that you recognize, and then this wealth of really incredibly beautiful music that people may not know so well. And then people who don't know the Go-Go's are going to discover a really, really great group of musicians.
And the music in the show is so wonderfully integrated, and we're finding in our research a lot of actual similarities between trends in popular culture in the 1570s, 80s, and the 1970s and 80s. One of the things I was pleased to discover doing initial work with design is that high fashion in the 1980s incorporated a lot of things we might actually think of as Elizabethan influenced, and that's sort of another way in which we're looking to mash up the visual world. And musically, it's kind of extraordinary. Jeff discovered this wonderful song, My Travelling Heart, that's now in the musical, done by Jane Wiedlin. It was actually on one of her solo albums. And the entire song, A, it's gorgeous, and B, it's completely evocative of an Elizabethan court dance because it's composed in compound meter. And so those elisions between the worlds of not just the music, but the world that we think we're creating, just allows us to be a lot more playful about creating a very fun, fictitious version of a world that has a foot in all of these different influences, but ultimately will cohere in our own version of things.
Yes, and we will have fun with the orchestrations. That sometimes it may be put in more of a classic setting than a rock setting, but we are not going to miss out on the chance to completely rock out when appropriate.
Yes, and we should discuss, Carmel Dean is doing all the arrangements of these songs, and she's a wonderful, wonderful music director and composer in her own right, and she's currently working on If Then in New York. But she is... what she's doing basically is taking each existing pop song and taking the cue that Jeff has left her in the script itself, and each song has been reimagined to, as one would do in a piece of musical theatre. Mm-hmm. If a song originally is up-tempo, it might be transformed into a ballad that someone is singing just on her bed. And that level of engagement with the music is extraordinary to me because it's allowing us to imagine source material as something new. And that, I think, is something all of us, especially at Oregon Shakes, we traffic in some sense in looking at old material and making it new. And so this feels like it's taking that to a whole other level, and we're able to re-envision not only the textual world but the musical world as something that we're adapting to this present moment.